Good morning YouTube and welcome to another vlog. We are now less than 12 weeks out, and as you might have seen from my last vlog, I was starting to feel a little bit tired. So this vlog is going to be all about my diet break. So I'm on the last day of a 4-day deload from training, so completely out the gym, minimal steps, no cardio, and bit more food, as you can see from the title of this vlog. So I'm going to take you along a full day of eating, a bit of a restful recovery day before tomorrow we get straight back into low food, cardio, training. But you know what, I've been on this prep now for so it was 12 weeks, so been pushing for 12 weeks without a break. I'm well ahead of like where I need to be in terms of like the conditioning, so we are so on track with things. My coach reckons that we will be ready early, so you know, we are taking this diet break as a little bit of a refresh. I think sometimes people might think that a refeed or a diet break is so that you drop more weight and so that you know, kickstart your metabolism and drop more weight, but really diet breaks, well, the way that we do it is not to do that. It is really just to freshen up, to drop fatigue so that we can then push on strong for the next block of prep. It's not really about putting more food in to see if the body weight drops more fat. Like it's not about that. But that's why we give ourselves a long prep. We have extra time. We map this into the timeline to allow for this. And it just means you get like a bit of a reset midway. You know, so for the last 3 months, I can really just push it. So I will say today, I feel the best I've felt so far on this diet break. It definitely took a couple of days for the dead feels to go. And also another thing that I want to say is that when we do a diet break, you know, so we're taking away that expenditure, we're giving the body some more food. You might think, oh, a day of doing that and you'll feel so much better, but it doesn't work like that. You know, if you've built up a lot of fatigue, which you will do through prep, because it's inevitable, you're eating less than your body needs and you are doing more than your body has the energy to do, so you do build up fatigue. Now you're not going to drop that off with 1 day of less output and more food, and you're probably not going to get rid of that in 4 days completely. But again, we are on prep, we don't have all the time to let the body freshen up, and at the end of the day we are still going to be going back into a harsh deficit and, you know, doing a lot. So it wouldn't last long anyway, but it really does just give the body that chance to just to build back its energy stores a little bit. And also just mentally, it's nice to just have that little bit of like a back off, so that we are like, you know, so motivated just to like push on for those last weeks. So yeah, so today I'll show you what I'm eating, and I'll show you the day in general, but you can probably tell already I'm a bit more alive than in the last vlog. So yeah, definitely feeling good for this, and I'm excited to get back to the gym tomorrow, and it's always nice to feel that, you know, when your excitement comes back for wanting to do your training, wanting to do your cardio, wanting to do your steps, that's when you know it was really needed. So anyway, I'll show you guys my first meal of the day. So in the kitchen, and I do have some chicken in the oven, so if you can hear that fan going, that's what it is. But I'm going to show you my first meal. So I'm halfway through making this, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about this. So this is my oats. So we've got 10 extra grams of oats than I would normally have. No, 20 grams extra oats than I would normally have. Now, oats is something that I thought I would just do a little bit of a talk about, because people say to me all the time, well, don't like oats. But honestly, I've had clients send me pictures of oats that literally look like they've made some wallpaper paste. And I'm thinking, well, why would you like that? Oats is one of those foods where you have to put a bit of effort into them to make them taste nice, because they don't taste of anything. So whatever you add to them, that's the flavour that they're going to pick up, and that's what they're going to taste like. So for instance, for me, I'll show you exactly what I add to these. And another thing with oats is you can make them many different ways in terms of textures. So it's, you know, how do you like your oats? Do you prefer them to be more fluffy and a little bit softer, or do you prefer them to be like quite stiff and, you know, cakey? So there's lots of different ways to do it, and I think, to be honest, I mean, I grew up in a household where mum would make a massive pot of oats, you know, bearing in mind she would add loads of milk and sugar to it, but it's like a staple that I sort of grew up with, whereas I don't think not everyone had that, so they probably think, oh, what is oats? It looks shit. Because they do look shit, but they taste amazing if you do it right. So first off, you need to make sure you're getting a good quality oats. So I like the quick oats because they do go fluffy, and this is the texture I like of my oats. So it's like fluffy, right? They're not runny, but they're not like too cakey either. So, you know, making sure that you find oats that cook in the way of the texture that you like. And then I add, you know, my cinnamon, which I love, and I add my pink salt, which helps bring out sweet flavors. And then I add in my fruit, so I chop up my strawberries, and then I mix all that in, and the oats take on the flavor of those things. So that's what you need to remember. Also going on here is going to be 20 grams of 85% dark chocolate. The darker the chocolate, the better, because there's less sugar in it. And then this is the whey I'm going to use today. So this is a new one, apple strudel flavour. So I really love this one. It's quite sweet, but it's very appley, and it just tastes really like, I don't know, like an apple strudel, like legit, it does. And that's the one I'll have, and I'll make that into a paste that'll drizzle on top. And honestly, it's just a bowl of lovely comfort food. So if you're one of these people that's just like, I don't like oats, I don't like them because you've made yourself a bowl of wallpaper paste once upon a time and did nothing to it, that's probably why you don't like them. So honestly, they're such a good carbohydrate source. There's so many benefits. I won't reel them off here to oats, but a slow release whole food carb, and they're just lovely. They're just lovely. Lovely comfort food. Nice sweet treat. Feels like a dessert almost. So don't knock them. Just as I was making my coffee at my whey paste, I thought I'd show you guys this because I get asked this all the time. So put your whey protein powder in a little pot or a little tub. So when I go to the gym, I just put it in a little Tupperware. Add some water to it, just a little bit, and then mix it all together. I can't do this one-handed, but I will finish it off and then show you at the end. Mix it and it will go like a paste. So let me show you. Okay, this is a bit bright, but, and there we have it, the finished article. Nearly dropped it on the side then, but yeah, this is what happens to protein powder when you just add water to it, a little bit of water to it, and mix it up. It goes like a thick cake icing, and then I just drip that all over my oats. Okay, and it is as simple as that. And here we have the finished product. So this is my oats that I've just made, mixed in the strawberries, mixed in the cinnamon and the pink salt, and you can already see that the oats have taken on those flavors. Like they've changed the color, you can see now, and that's what they'll taste of. So this is why you just need to put effort into your oats, and they'll taste really nice. Of course, whatever fruit you add to it, or seasoning or whatnot, that's what they'll taste of. 85% dark chocolate, so there's 20 grams here, so that is 15 grams more chocolate than I normally have. Okay, and then 20 grams of oats more than I normally have, and then I've got my whey paste on here that I've just made and showed you guys. My glutamine, creatine, my vitamins, so I've split these up obviously into days, and these are really good, by the way. So get yourself a little pill pot, get your vitamins in there, and that's how I do mine every 5 days. And then I've got my decaf coffee here as well. Back in the kitchen for my second meal, I've just done my client check-ins on a Monday morning. I've done training feedback analysis to clients that have sent through training videos, and just caught up on all of my client work this morning. So now it's time for meal 2. So normally this is just chicken and vegetables, but today we've got 40 grams of raw white rice and 100 grams of chicken. I've got 25 grams of avocado here, and I'm going to do 50 grams of spinach with this. But I just wanted to show you as well how duped have I been with this avocado. It is just 70% stone with a tiny bit of avocado around the edge. That is so annoying when that happens. But this is meal number 2, so some more carbs going in. Of course, I will add my daily salt allowance, spreading that across my meals today. So this is the second meal. And here we have the final product. So lovely. So just remember, normally I just get chicken and vegetables with this. So we've got the extra avocado, we've got the rice. So this does feel like a little bit of heaven right now. A few hours later, and I've just pulled up because I'm about to go in for a massage to get some body work. Something that I wanted to do during this diet break is make sure I get some good body work in, to make sure that everything is nimble and loose and just recovered and feeling good to get back into training and everything. You know, with posing, you know, we are constantly contorting and tightening up areas of our body. Training, we're constantly contracting those muscles and everything can get tight. So making sure that you invest a little bit into body work is really, really important. So anyway, going to do that now, and then I will see you guys after. And that is my 90-minute full body massage done. Oh, that was painful, but relaxing at the same time. I feel so tired now. So tired. Oh, that was so needed. My calves. Oh, whenever you have your calves massaged, doesn't it just... next level. But oh, that was so needed. That was so good. Oh, I just want to go to sleep now, but I'm going to get myself hydrated. I want to get myself home. It's time for another meal, and time to get back to work. I think I better get a coffee when I get home. But yes, as I was saying before that, massages, I get it's an investment. I do. It is an investment. It's money that I'm sure you might think could be spent elsewhere. But what we just have to remember is when we're training hard, very regularly, posing, you know, when you're doing bikini competitions or bodybuilding competitions in general, you were training hard, you're posing hard, you're doing a lot of walking, you are doing a lot of cardio, your body really does, build up tension and all that sort of thing. And, you know, something we have to remember is when we are bodybuilding, we're trying to aim for symmetry in our musculature, and something that can happen if you're too tight, or, you know, if you try to constantly train through niggles and things like that, is you can cause imbalances in your physique, which you don't want. So, you know, being on top of your body work, being on top of like your mobility as much as you can is really important. Something that I would also massively recommend is that you, because this is something that I did for years, and it's took about a year for it to get better, is I trained in ill-fitting shoes, so things like Converse and like narrow shoes, things that weren't great for training. And something we've got to remember is a lot of problems and niggles that you'll have with your body do stem from like your feet. So if your feet are weak, which, you know, modern day shoes do make your feet weak, if you train in them, walk in them, cardio in them, like those problems then will go up your body, okay, into other areas, your knees, your hips, your, you know, back. So what I've started doing is I do all my lower body training in barefoot shoes. So if you've not heard of these, you can get them on Amazon. You can get branded ones like Vibram. There are a few others as well, but I just get some off Amazon called, I think they're called Vivo, Vivo, barefoot. And they're basically, it's just a shoe that feels like you're not wearing a shoe. So it's got a really thin sole, it's very flexible, it's in the shape of your foot, and it just means you can use your toes when you're training, you can use your feet when you're training. Because I used to train with no shoes on last year, but obviously gym floors are dirty and cold, so I thought I'll get some barefoot shoes, and they are game changing. Honestly, I have no, touch wood, I've had no like not major niggles or, you know, aches or anything since. I do have a bit of a chronic back thing that I have going on for years, but that's mainly due to an injury that I caused years ago, and then posing just exacerbates it a little bit, but I can't get around that because I've got to pose. So I will show you my shoes next time I do a training vlog, but my barefoot shoes, and you definitely feel your calves and your feet and everything working a little bit harder in them as well. So yeah, and I know that my feet were weak because
when I first took off my bad shoes and my Converse and started to try and do an RDL, I couldn't keep my toes on the floor. And this is because I've got weak toes and weak feet from wearing ill-fitting shoes. So again, if you do struggle with like niggles, injuries, things like that, like honestly, it all stems from things like muscular imbalances, which can be caused by weaknesses, which can be caused by ill-fitting shoes. So, you know, I like to geek out about some of the stuff. My friend Kerry that I trained with last year, like she's dead into that sort of stuff as well, and taught me a lot about it and made me a little bit more wise and switched on to things like that. And it's it's been a bit of a game changer. So just some tips.
I apologise, I'm such a mess right now, but that massage, she was like in my head, in my traps, my neck, because I've got massage oil and stuff all over me. Anyway, I've been working away and it's nearly time for another meal. So I'm going to go downstairs in a minute when I've wrapped up everything I need to wrap up for today. And then I'm going to get myself my next meal. So I'll show you guys that one. But I just wanted to jump on here and just, again, talk a little bit more about this diet break. You know, as I said earlier, the point of the diet break is not to lose body fat. I think that's where people can get mistaken. I think they think, oh, this is to boost metabolism, to encourage fat loss, but it's not. It's just to really refresh, get fresh, drop fatigue, so that you can push on essentially for fat loss, okay? Fat loss will never come from eating more food. And again, I think people need to remember that. When you see people eating more food, they may lose body weight from doing that, purely from the fact that their body is dropping fatigue, okay? So they're dropping water retention off the back of dropping stress and fatigue. So, you know, fat loss and weight loss comes from a calorie deficit, okay? So eating less, doing more. But again, what you have to remember is that eating less and doing more causes fatigue. So when we have a buildup of fatigue, as I've just said, that can cause things like water retention and stress onto the body and fatigue, and that will show up as more weight on the scale. So just something to bear in mind when you see people do these refeeds and diet breaks. You know, they're not to boost fat loss, they are to refresh the body, drop fatigue, so that that person can then push on again for fat loss. So, you know, as much as our metabolism may adapt a little bit, it's not going to, you know, it will adapt to more food, you know. So it's not like, you know, otherwise, imagine if you were to diet, imagine if this was the case, you were to diet and then the more food you ate, your body just kept losing weight. Like, we would be extinct, right? Because we would die of starvation and losing weight. So you've got to remember your metabolism is like adaptable, okay? So again, this refeed diet break has come at the right time. I was definitely ready for it, as you guys could probably see in that last vlog that I did. But you know what? I think people think, oh, you know, I need so much food. And I suppose, you know, you guys might have already seen from the clips I put in this vlog, you know, and I apologise for the clickbaity title. Obviously, I'm not having all of those amount of carbs in one day. This is spread over 4 days. So it's been about 150 carb extra a day, and about 20 gram extra fat a day. So, you know, I am like 52 kilos on stage. So I don't need 600 grams of carbs to refeed and fill my physique. Like, you know, as a bikini girl, you may know someone who needs that because they've got some mad metabolism. But that ain't me. That is not me. I was not blessed with a good metabolism. But to be honest with you, I work with a lot of women in my job, and I realise that, to be honest with you, it's quite common for, you know, the amount of food, the body weights we're at, you know, and what we need. There are not going to be many people that need ludicrous amounts of carbs and food to maintain weight and things like that. Usually people like that, they are heavily muscled, they do a hell of a lot of activity, or they are just, you know, they've been an athlete their whole life, and their body is just so so efficient at utilizing food. You know, your average person, that your average bikini girl is not going to need
crazy amounts of food to fill, because again, it's not the norm. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist, because there will be, you know. My friend Kerry has a client, you know, and again, we were discussing her because we were so shocked at how much food she needed, because it was not normal that she needed a hell of a lot of food to gain weight, to maintain weight. You just don't see it that often. So, you know, when your coach programs in refeeds or diet breaks, you know, don't think that, oh my gosh, I'm going to be drowning in all the bagels and cereal and all of that sort of stuff. It's probably going to be a bit more rice, a bit more oats, or a couple of rice cakes. That is just the reality of it. And I think people can just get a little bit, I think they can get a bit ahead of themselves, that they might need more than they do. But remember, we are not at the point where we are trying to, you know, fill a really flat physique. Like, we're not there. I'm not trying to get my look ready for stage. I'm just trying to freshen up a little bit, get some energy back so that I can push on for the next half of this prep. So you might see my food and think, why on earth is she like even vlogging, you know, 40 grams of raw weight rice and 20 grams of extra oats? But to me, that's way more than what I have been eating, guys. So it does feel nice. But the last thing I want to say on this clip is that also, you know, the thought of more food is always better than more food. Because I learned this on my first prep. I remember it was a slog for 20 weeks. I got no refeeds, no diet breaks, pretty much. And I literally just dieted for 20 weeks. And I thought that eating, you know, food, fast food, and just more food in general was going to be the best thing in the world. And when I did, okay, yeah, it was nice, but the thought of doing it is always, the thought of eating more and the thought of having more food when you are like in a heavy deficit is way better than when you actually do it. So yeah, I've had like massive bowls of rice, I've had massive bowls of oats. I had 75 grams of oats before bed the other day, which I've not had in like 3 months. And the thought of it, you know, when I was actually eating, yeah, it was nice, but it wasn't like, you definitely build it up in your head to be something way more than it's going to be. But that's a good thing. It's a good thing because it takes your food focus away even more so. And again, you just go into that mindset that, you know, it's nice. I feel fueled from it. I feel a bit fuller from it. In terms of my tummy feels a bit fuller from it. Probably get a better sleep, you know. But apart from that, guys, it's definitely built up to be something more than it is. So if you don't get lots of refeeds and you don't get a lot of food on a diet break, please don't think it's the end of the world and it's shit and you're shit and oh God, like not many people do. And the thought of it is always better than what it actually is. What you need to be focusing on is what you're doing this process for, and that's to bring the best bikini physique to stage. It's really not about the food. And this is where you need to pull yourself back and get that perspective. You know, your food and your fuel, people can make such a big deal out of it on prep, but ultimately your prep is not about food. You know, it's not about a diet. It's about bringing a competitive physique to stage. That should always be the top thing you're thinking about. You know, yes, there'll be hard days. Yes, there'll be days you're more food focused. But overall, that stuff is just, you know, you've got every single day you're going to be dealing with those thoughts and things. Well, the overarching thing that you need to be thinking about is what is going to bring my best physique to stage. That might not always be pushing a very severe heavy deficit non-stop for 20 weeks. For most people, it's not going to be. So again, if you don't understand what diet breaks and refeeds are for, do a little bit of what's the word? I can't even think, bit of research. And I hope that this vlog helps explain it too, you know, for what it's actually for. You know, I've had athletes before that, and I've been in the position before where I've not had the luxury of being able to have a diet break because I won't be ready on time if I do that, or I won't have enough fat loss if I do that. And it's just finding the balance of, you know, can we pull back to push forwards? Do we need to pull back to push forwards? You know, and I would always say, you know, always timeline these things in. That is the best thing you can do. Timeline refeeds and diet breaks
as much as you can into your timeline so you know when they're going to happen. We don't always know when they're going to happen. Sometimes we need them on the fly, you know, but make sure there is time made available in your prep for a diet break so that you can have that opportunity to freshen up. Because again, it's not been game changing like at all. I still feel generally, you know, like I'm in a prep, don't get me wrong. But it does give you that little mental reset. It does give you that time for your body to drop the fatigue. And ultimately that's going to bring a better look for stage. But again, we're all different. But anyway, if anyone's got any questions about that, honestly, do DM me on Instagram and I'll always talk you through and help you with that if that's something that you don't understand, or you know, if you've not got a coach or something like that, drop me a DM and we'll make sure you've got a POA in place. Right, so here we are with the next meal. I've been doing a little bit of meal prep as well, as you can see. These are Josh's, not mine, but my veggies. And here is the next meal. So this is 40 grams of raw weight rice, chicken and vegetables. So all the meals that I've had today have had 40 grams of raw weight rice, the chicken meals that I've had, and then obviously with my vegetables, and then 2 of them have the 25 grams of avocado added as well. So that will be added to my next meal. But just put my pink salt on here, warm this all up in the pan together, and that is meal number 4. Right then, and we are back with meal number 5. So 100 grams of chicken, 40 grams of raw weight rice, veggies, 25 grams of avocado, all heated up in the pan. Put my avocado to make it look pretty, and pink salt on top of here. So that is meal number 5, guys, and I'll see you for meal number 6. And meal number 6, this is my last meal of my diet break. So we've got 60 grams of oats, 150 grams of berries, 10 grams of chocolate, and 30 grams of whey. I'm going to enjoy this because it's probably the last time in a good while that I'm going to have this many oats in this bowl. And back to the cold hard reality of it today. The diet break is over. We are back. I have done my cardio. I have done my first block of steps for the day, and I'm about to go make my meal number 1 on a training day. So it's just 1 egg, 20 grams of avocado, 2 turkey bacon, and 50 grams of spinach. But I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, so that's the diet break done, guys. 4 days of minimal steps, no cardio, no training. So did feel fresh this morning, which was nice. Doing my cardio, doing my steps, I did feel like my legs are light again, which is nice. So I definitely feel ready to get back into the gym and just the swing of things. So that's going to be nice. And I'm not quite sure I'm ready for the less food, but we'll get it done. And I'm sure, like anything, it's just getting into the routine of it again. But so over those last 4 days, I've had an extra 630 carbs, 630 carb, and an extra 80 grams of fat. So it has been nice. The belly is full. I'm sure it won't take long for it to empty again. But thank you for watching this video, guys. Hopefully it's been something a bit different and you've enjoyed it. And the next vlog I will do will be some sort of training day, just so that we can go through some training, and I'll share my thoughts and insights and stuff on that. Because I don't think I've really been into much training yet on these vlogs, and obviously it's, you know, the biggest part of bodybuilding. So so that will be the next one. But thanks for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're watching the videos, subscribe to my channel. And see you in the next one.